Okay, so this is oh, sorry, I'm just talking on this thing. Yeah, I know it's good. I'm not crazy. Don't worry. All right. Anyways, I apologize. I had to let someone know I'm not crazy. Anyways, so what I'm showing you here is probably where the biggest offenses to good, maintainable, efficient code I have written in this app, and that is my user's controller. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't even see that. The user's controller right here. And in my defense, a lot of it was while I was learning Rails when I first started. So it's a big learning process, so I didn't know the best practices, and a lot of other things become dependent on it, and it would take some time to go back. So I'll go through and show the parts that aren't good. One thing is also, you might see that this, so I have this user ID expire fragment feed index. That's why sometimes if you do a delete on the show page and you go back to the index, for the delete, I didn't have it expired as fragment. I don't think it should have the feed index. I think I'm going to actually, in another video, replace it from each share post I cache so that that resource or that cached element can be used whoever is going to be in that feed that share post is. Share post is like those things that you type. So that one thing is more efficient, and then additionally you wouldn't have the same problem. So that was a way, and I'm going to do that in another video later to explain. Okay, so most of what I do on this website is through Ajax. And look at this terrible indentation. My only explanation but for this terrible indentation is I will be working on this, I don't know, after 13 hours I get really sleepy, and I guess the code gets sloppy. That's just a problem. Oops. That should not have happened. That's a problem that happens, and normally that wouldn't happen under circumstances, but I try to get this finished as fast as humanly possible. Okay, so you see here is where I fixed it. Well, first I'll show you this really bad code. So this is update post scroll. So this is for like the endless scroll where it updates the posts. And you see right here is, while of course I did all the includes, I kept all these weird objects I made where I just make a custom object. And that's because the JavaScript on the other side actually uses those words like, dot p type for song, right? Or created when. I can easily change that. It just would take maybe 40 minutes to actually change it, but then maybe there might be a bug. Who knows? So another defense on my part, I would say, is the reason why these objects are this way is because for a while, share posts were originally only for sharing songs, and then I expanded it, and I didn't have the right attributes for the model, and I had to actually update it. Now it is updated, so it works just fine. You have this p type, which would normally be like post type, and also different hacks. So I didn't have the design in the foresight. At the beginning, I didn't know. It's like a +1 that I wanted to do. And the reason why it is really inefficient is because I have all the needed data. So I'm doing an extra n operations of iterating through these objects and creating a whole new objects. It's very, it's unneeded, and it's more work on the computer, which slows down time for how many requests you can get back. So what I did is, so actually on the show, which is where I fixed it, is obviously I have enough information already, and then when you go, like, let's say, show and index, actually. So we'll see on the index, user feed, but you'll see in the user's controller, model, I apologize, user model, Let's see here. Feed. Yeah, include user songs, votes, and comments. So it includes this. So instead of doing an n plus, well, it's not even n plus one actually. It's a you have to do. If I were to do like, let's say user, or let's say it should be song share post, right? And if I did .user, then I have to do a query for each one .song. And it's, if this were like, let's say I had actual data on a different server, or there's the data is split up between different databases, or even the latency, you have that included, and it's also less efficient than just taking all this relational data in one giant query. And it's all indexed just fine, so I think active record gets it done pretty fast. So so this is actually fixed for that. And then what other problems did I make? Yeah, update social feed scroll. That's also not so good. Actually, it's not so bad. So I guess I fixed the update social feed scroll. And let's see here. One of the things is I generate the ERB for the first like feed post. Like, let's say if you go, no, not that. Users. All right, great. What you see right here is the first until you start to scroll, which you start scrolling about now. And since obviously it's coming from the local, it's really fast. I do have a loading part, and this is all JavaScript afterwards. But right here is ERB. I don't know. The only reason I did it because I feel the worst part is actually generating this content. It just makes each request slower, and that makes the stack of requests each time take more time. So it's a potential that, you know, there could be a server timeout for this content. Of course, I do caching, so a lot of times it comes back pretty fast. But in general, for update feed scroll, I just do AJAX and just get all the data and then generate it that way. So I guess if you turn off JavaScript, my website wouldn't work at all. It's essentially mostly a JavaScript site, but I use Rails. Or, oh, if you see this, I'm going to change this when you see it, only because this picture doesn't set the height. So if you have a really long picture, I don't know, I just think it looks really bad. This also looks sort of bad too. I gotta fix it, but you'll see later.